Multiple reports through the night and this morning stated that Biden's health may not be what we thought. It may not be just quote-unquote COVID, that he needs Paxlovid, that he's getting better. There's some scary reports coming out, and if you remember, about a week and a half ago, there was some news on X that dropped that there was a medical emergency on Air Force One. Well, no one could prove it other than an anonymous source, and everybody thought it was hogwash. Turns out there could be some truth to it. Let's jump into some of these developing stories that just came out about our president. And then, should we be worried? Because again, ultimately, who's running the country? Is this why you see the delegates who were pledged, who are not allowed to release their pledges, out Biden saying he releases them? They just release them. I mean, states are going crazy over it. And the delegates that represent their people aren't representing their people anymore because their votes don't matter. What's really happening behind the scenes? Let's talk about it today. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much to be here on this beautiful day. It's cloudy, it's been rainy, but again, a beautiful, beautiful morning that we can wake up to and know that we are alive. That is a blessing. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, if you are new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe. Let us know what you think about the content. And give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs down if you don't like it. That's okay, but tell us what you actually think about the video. The whole point of what we share is to help us be more prepared, help us to navigate this crazy world that we live in. Current events are part of that. Homesteading is part of that. Preparedness is part of that. And our goal is we could wrap it all together, make it easier, and also have a simple dialogue. And sometimes when we can talk and we can have a sensible head and we can talk through community and have this video shared, it allows us to say, you know what, I hadn't thought about that. Let's do that. I hadn't thought about buying this. Let's do this. I haven't thought about it that way. It helps us gain wisdom. Now let's jump into the video. This all kind of started yesterday. There was a flag flying half-mast at the Capitol. Nobody thought anything about it. There's a few conspiracies going around about it. But if you remember back on July 5th, there was something shared that there was a medical emergency on Air Force One and that it had to be, the doctors had to be used on staff. Now, that got debunked. Well, they say it got debunked. The White House debunked it. The press secretary debunked it. But at that point, we may have realized his failing health was getting worse. And not only was it getting worse, it may be taking the next toll of maybe a terminal illness. Because from that point on, he did one more interview and did a few rallies, and he was slipping the whole time. Extremely bad. I want you to listen to this, what they said about July 5th. On Air Force One, there was an exclusive problem that had happened that could have likely killed him. His time was very limited. Biden staffers and his family are holding on for dear life right now because that has now grown even more. The president is dying and in final preparations for him is being made. Now this is alleged, but this is coming from two different sources. One from overseas, a global news network, and then also a investigative journalist from Twitter. He was supposed to leave Delaware today, but his health has deteriorated. Now, if you remember, yesterday they made the report that he was coming back to the White House today or tomorrow, saying Wednesday or Thursday. At first it was for Tuesday, so they said he is supposed to be here Tuesday, but it could be later on the week depending on how he feels. Well, they said he's making a great recovery from COVID. He did that weird recording call thing from his home to Kamala yesterday, which I think was completely staged. But if this is true, this kind of goes along with everything that we've seen. Remember, no one has seen Joe since last week. No one. And the people that are near and dear to him, his family, other than the crazy uncle, no one's come to the press and talked about it. We had this random white paper document that was released on Twitter that no one knew about. Biden is expected to leave his beach home in Rehoboth, Delaware on Tuesday afternoon and arrive back at the White House at 2:30. Although that could be changed to Wednesday, July 24th. It depends on his decline. Now this is alleged again. Biden is terminal and it is rather quicker than expected. Listen to this. This is why, and if you remember, Kamala flew to Delaware yesterday. This is what this person is alleging. And Laura Loomer is sharing this, but this is from a different source. This is why Kamala flew to Delaware yesterday. This is why Biden's chief of staff called a emergency meeting in the White House yesterday. Now, they said it was because they were going to let everybody know that why he got out. But now we're starting to see that his chief of staff is pulling some strings at the White House, and no one is at the White House that's actually supposed to be in command. Now remember, also the Israeli, with Netanyahu coming, that was blown off and canceled. He still came. Listen to this. He's trying to get a meeting with Trump. And guess who else has already decided to meet with him later on in the week? Kamala, not Biden. So the president that's supposed to be the president now is not meeting with Netanyahu. It is the Democrat and the Republican nominees. So what is our thoughts? Is Biden really, if he is still living and thriving, is he terminal to a point where he can't actually fulfill his duties as president? Now, I think the few things has got to happen. I honestly believe, this is just my thoughts now, I'm speaking strictly for me. I believe some things have got to happen. I believe you've got to see some pardons for Joe's brother and Joe's son. I think that's got to happen. And I think that's part of this whole deal. Another thing another thought pattern that's got to take place is you've got all these delegates and 15 million votes have come in for Biden. Why is it fair for the delegates and superdelegates, not the people, to decide who leads them for the Democratic nod? So a few things are going to take place. Either they're going to keep on just going. I think this is why this has been so quick to just coalesce around Kamala, is because they need to make sure that if all of a sudden Biden checks out or Biden can't fulfill, she goes in as the quote-unquote president, she wins all the accolades, and she is the incumbent now running from the Oval Office, which looks best on her. However, what they don't want to see is the global reaction to it, and there's no true leader, there's no vice president put in there, and so automatically the third in command would be Mike Johnson, which is not for their side. So they're trying to get this set up so Kamala runs right in, takes over, and then therefore it makes it smoother. I believe you could see this by August. I believe you could see this actually at the very 1st of August, maybe even by the end of July. I could be completely wrong, and then you could come back and make fun of me in this video. I don't make a lot of predictions. I talk about people making predictions, but I honestly have been saying this since, I mean, go back and watch the videos. I've been saying that he's going to be gone by August, and bam, that's what is happening. I thought a few weeks ago it was going to actually be a little bit sooner, but now these reports are coming out and saying that he is terminal, and there was actually family, anonymous sources say that were next to the family, saying that he may not even make it through the days and weeks ahead. So how serious is his deterioration? And another report came out that said that the reason Obama is not backing Kamala yet is that it's all part of the plan to make it look like it's going to be an open situation at the DNC, that it's going to be completely fair and it's going to be for democracy. You know, that word they always like to use, which is funny. We're a constitutional republic, we know that, but they use the term democracy, which means populist movement, and it's funny how they're not allowing the populist to make their decision. They're making the superdelegates and delegates make their decision. But I think that's why Obama is holding his endorsement, because he wants to make it look fair to wait till we get to the actual DNC. Now, you know, the names like Pete Buttigieg has been thrown in there. Several people like Shapiro and Moore, all of these have been thrown in there. Whitmer. There's a lot of names getting thrown in there. What's happening is I believe you're going to see this very quickly happen to where a VP is picked. I think you're going to see very quickly some transitional people put in, because if he steps out, Kamala will step in and she will have a team set up. Remember, you're within almost 100 days of an election, but you've got 5 months or 4 to 5 months left of this presidency. So there's a lot that can take place. Beware of black swans that come around. I think that the shooting last week was supposed to be a black swan event. I believe everybody's forgot about it, and this is how they forget about it, because the national figure that's leading our country is now debilitated. So it's taken our focus off actually what happened. We'll talk a little bit more about some new emerging details with Trump later on. But you listen to what Laura Loomer is saying. It said, if Biden does return by Wednesday, the press won't be allowed to get close to him. Biden's staff has been keeping him isolated because he is suffering from TIAs. Now, this is all alleged from a source, on top of existing deteriorating conditions of dementia and medical issues that he had July 5th. Now, they're saying he is developing TIAs now because of the situation he had July 5th, and also he's deteriorating because of sundowners or dementia that he already had. When someone has a TIA, they have to be monitored for at least 72 hours because many who have TIAs then go to a full-blown stroke. Saying Biden had COVID allowed them to have this time frame to be able to watch him and monitor him. So the question is, during this time, did the TIAs make him have a deeper stroke? Did the deeper stroke cause him to be in a point of not being able to serve, very incapacitated, to where this recording, this situation was to basically just give all accolades to Kamala and Kamala to take the reins? I believe there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes. I mean, this is a very good thought pattern here, that if he needed the 3 to 4 days to see if he could pull out of this with a TA and all of a sudden have something major happen, that's why we hadn't seen him in 5 to 6 days, other than this really weird recording that we heard. Saying at this point in time, his staff are protecting themselves more than Biden. Listen to this. You notice more restrictions in Biden's facial movements this week. You will notice the restricting speeches that he will make if he comes back. Biden will likely have a lisp if he had TIA, so we would know. So here's where we're at. We have an assassination attempt. We have an attempt on a guy's life. We have the fact that our leader could possibly have had, a major medical situation on July 5th or in the last few days, because he is gone. He's not even been seen. Take the COVID situation out of it. That was an excuse to get him off the path. Then you have one that they have anointed to basically take his place, and not just a few people support her. Everybody in the party, every Democratic governor, who some are not really liberal, that would support a very liberal president, but man, they are all gung-ho about Kamala. She has pulled in mostly all the senators and the majority of representatives, the Congress. So they anointed her that quick. Why? Because there may be something behind the scenes that shows that she has got to run this country for the next 5 months. Now that's dangerous in itself, and that scares the mess out of me. But the fact is, the news is going to come around her too, and they're going to love her. They're going to give and adorate her and make sure that she gets everything. She is going to be so adorned, they might as well put a crown on her head. That's what you're going to see. So now you're going to go back to that uphill battle of Trump. How can he do this? My thoughts. Trump and Vance need to have very, very minimal interactions with news and media. I think they need to be very, very poignant in how they speak. Make sure they stay completely on script, because if they let Kamala speak, I think Kamala will hurt herself. Listen, just like the recording situation last night, just like the situations where she cackles because she can't figure out her wording. It's just like word salad. Let her speak, and I think people will see her incompetence, not her quote-unquote brilliance from being this legal scholar. That's a bunch of bull. But if we allow her to speak more, I think Trump and Vance need to tone down their rhetoric. Let her burn her own bridges. Then you will see what happens at the DNC. I think what they're doing is they know that they've got to have a plan for right now. So I believe they're going to install her as president right now. But I don't know if she's for sure a shoo-in for the DNC until the next few days come and how they see how she does with being president. But this is the best shot they've got right now. So that's my thoughts. How close is Biden to being terminal, to a point where he is, put out the pasture or put out to a boat and floated off? I mean, this man could easily be on his deathbed and we not know it. And I believe us as the American people should know it. And I believe with us having this global chaos that we've got going on, global news is reporting that he is on hospice. And we have investigative journalists with anonymous sources saying the same thing. He's very terminal. What is the truth? And Americans should know it. The sad thing is the Democrats are going to hide all this from you. And then they're going to put whoever they want to put in there, and you don't have a say, especially if you're on the left. Pay attention to what's going on. I think there's going to be a crazy few weeks coming up. And I believe there's going to be more and more stories come out. And it's going to be some black swans happening. Let me know your thoughts. Am I wrong or right? Hopefully the guy's in best health of his life. He's going to come back and play tennis and have vigor and ride bicycles. I don't see it. Let me know your thoughts. God bless.